Hello, 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 and welcome to the Rag Company podcast. We're at main show 48. It's
pretty good. Hey.
To my right, I've got Levi.
Hey, guys, what's going on?
Gates. And to my left, I've got Anthony.
What's up? Please don't do that.
You threw off my...
Yeah, I'm glad I did.
I had a cadence. I had a fun thing.
The cadence is off.
Man,
let's move on.
We got a vibe here. So, at any rate,
good
that's
stuff.
fun.
Good stuff.
I'm trying to have fun. Something different's going to happen next time, so whatever. Anyway, we got stuff to talk about. So, let's get to it. What happened this weekend, guys?
A lot of good stuff. It was a beautiful weekend. It was nice.
Yeah, it was.
Weather was perfect.
It was crazy.
It was a good
toasty.
weekend to go out and do things.
Yeah.
Get outside.
I did a lot. I did a lot of stuff.
What'd you do?
Well, some of you may or may not have seen, if you follow my Instagram, the Rag Company Levi.
You should.
Nate and I, Nate's our web guy here and e-commerce. Me and him went out to Nampa to pick up...
Nampon.
Yep.
City of Nampon.
City of Nampon. We went out to Nampa to pick up my little 2000 GMC Sonoma.
Oh, yeah.
That I bought for
Yep.
$800.
Crowd war.
Well, and Nate was there because...
Nate brought his little S10. So,
you kind of both had the same idea.
Yeah. So, one of the fun things I did, though, was Nate and I were driving, and his truck's way nicer than mine. His has like 70,000 miles on it. He paid like $5,000. It was an old man truck, like it's one owner kind of deal.
Stark contrast to what you got.
Mine was $800 with 200,000 miles.
But yours
on it.
is a 20-footer. From 20 feet away, it looks pretty good.
20 feet away, it looks all right. You get up close, and it's like, whoa, that is a beater.
That is an $800 truck.
That's an $800 truck. So we drove out there, and one of the things that he was joking, we were talking about, he's like, this doesn't have a tilt. His truck doesn't have a tilt column, right? And he's like, that's the only thing I wish I had a tilt column. And we get out there. Lo and behold, mine has a tilt column.
That's exciting.
So I showed that. I was like, look how great this is.
I mean, we are talking about basically low
Welcome
trim level
to the year 2000.
So you're not.
Well,
you're
his
not
is like a
looking at
99. So
Okay.
There's not a lot of
too bad.
creature comforts going on.
No, but mine's a GMC, so it's a professional grade vehicle.
Right.
Yeah.
So
it's built for tough.
It's not
Ford.
built
Never
for
mind.
tough.
Sorry, it's the wrong brand.
It's got the same guts as
but
this
the
S10,
GMCs
so.
are usually always higher level optioned than a Chevrolet.
Yeah, it's like comparing a Denali to a Tahoe, right?
Yeah.
It's like
you're always going to get more.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. So it had a tilt, had cruise, all that good stuff. So, but anyway, we drove out, picked it up from this kid, and drove it back. It's got a hole in the exhaust pipe, which I knew about.
Sounds good.
AC needs recharge, which I knew about. But drove back just fine. Needs an alignment, needs a couple tires, just standard stuff. It's an $800 truck.
People are going to want to
like,
know, though, what was the
can't be that
condition of the
upset.
paint? Did you take a paint depth measurement on there?
Well, let's just say it's most of the truck has been spray painted red.
Spray paint. Yeah, so it's like my Miata then. Rattle can.
Yeah, it's most of it's been spray painted. There's a ton of clear coat failure.
20-footer.
All over it. It's got a dent in the hood, and there was some Bondo apparently covering that dent.
Nice. Okay.
And then it needs a new bumper cover. The bumper cover's all cracked. So the cool thing is these trucks are cheap. So the parts are cheap. I found a front bumper cover for like $35.
Well, my question is, right, so Nate bought his $5,000 S10, right? Do you think it will take you to get up to $5,000 to get this truck to look as good as what his is?
Yeah, it probably will.
I sincerely doubt that.
Yeah,
I'm not
going for that level.
Up fast. It adds
up.
I will, but I look at it and I go, okay, I'm going to just try and get it mechanically sound. My goal with it is that my wife can hop in it when I'm out of town or something and run an errand, go to Home Depot, pick something up, come back and go, oh, it's so nice having that little truck. That's like whatever I do is worth it to me.
It's a third vehicle.
If my wife is happy just hopping in it, driving it for less than an hour, that's all I need her to do.
Yeah.
And she'll be good. So I spent Saturday afternoon shampooing it because the kid smokes in it. So I went through a lot of Terminator, shampooed it a lot. I'm going to do an odor bomb in it. That was the biggest. That needed a lot of
any
it.
cigarette burns?
There's some cigarette burns, but again, it's a 200,000 mile truck. I don't.
Plus side though, because it's compact pickup, the cab is relatively small, so there's not as much surface area to clean as in like a sedan.
Yeah,
or
no,
something.
it didn't take me long, and I cleaned everything up, and it's good. Everything looks good. It still just has that tinge of smoke.
Here's something to think about. In the bed, though, you probably have drainage holes in the bed.
It has a bed liner in it.
Okay, so if it gets cleaned, then just making sure everything's not clogged.
It's got a full bed liner. So I'm sure if I could take it out and look and see how long that bed liner's been in the back.
Now, might sound like a stupid question. Is it 4-wheel drive?
No.
Oh,
I was gonna say, look at the ride height on that thing. It's
got the ZQ8 Sport package on it, so it's got sway bars, dude. It's got beefy sway bars front and rear. It's got a factory lowering kit in the front.
Okay.
And then heavy duty shocks in the rear.
I take it yours is the 4-cylinder though.
Yeah. Okay. And 225s. On all 4 corners.
So are you going to do some sandbags in the summertime, or what's your plan for that?
Well,
I'm sorry, wintertime. Sandbags in the wintertime.
I probably won't drive it in the winter.
I don't know.
The Elantra is a beast in the snow.
Oh, that's true.
So, I mean, you can't stop that car in the snow. It's legit with snow tires. But it has snow tires on it. The truck has some snow tires on it.
Now?
Yeah. No studs, but they're snow tires. So
the compound is all out of whack.
Oh, one's like gone, like it needs replaced. I'm surprised they made it back from Nampa.
It's pretty common lug pattern stuff though. You could replace those cheap.
Beautiful things about Nampon. Got to see Taco Ladder. Remember the sign I showed you guys? The picture of the tacos on the ladder, like the taco sign, like come get tacos over here, but they used a ladder.
To me, just seems like
got to see that.
Seems like a taco themed version of like the van that says free candy on the side.
Yeah, basically, it's like tacos over here. Here's a ladder we use, and then a poster board to.
I mean,
hang
people
a sign.
Can't drive a ladder away with you.
So we got to see that.
We got to see that. The tacos are good though.
We got to drive on the torn up roads. Yeah. Like when they're so for those of you that don't understand, Nampa is a little city just 20 miles away from us. It's a very odd town. It smells, for one, because there's a sugar beet factory that processes sugar beets and turns them into sugar. So the whole town just kind of smells. To those of you that love Nampa and are locals that listen, I'm sorry, but
good for
you live in Nampa. Like
it's a thing.
It's a thing.
It's an ongoing battle, 1A versus 2C.
So one thing that Nampa does though is they are tearing up all their roads.
Yeah.
Like literally, they are like I thought it was a joke.
No, they're tearing up all the roads.
They are literally tearing up all their roads and leaving them in like they're trying to fix them, but instead of like how Boise we're doing like 2 blocks. We're doing like 2 blocks of a major intersection, and we're working like half at a time. No, these guys just tear the whole thing up, and you drive on gravel and sand.
I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to do what
they're also trying to fix infrastructure.
I think they're trying to do what Boise didn't prepare for, which was make wider roads and make things more accessible.
And they are, and 10 years from now it may be perfect
because they know they're growing.
Literally don't have enough construction people or people in the traffic, I guess, industry to be able to make this happen.
Didn't you grow up in Nampa?
No, I did not grow up in Nampa.
They're
essentially starting to sound like you're trying to.
I was trying to. No, I was just trying to. I'm just trying
to defend them.
Not trying to defend the city of Nampon. I'm a firm 1A believer and love living in Meridian, Idaho.
1A is greater than 2C.
It is.
In Meridian, we're still in 1A.
Yeah. So anyway, we got to drive, got to see the train yards, got to see the torn up roads, got to see the Family Dollars all around. So. We had a neighbor while we were signing the title and stuff come over in his bathrobe and offer us a stereo box.
So it was that kind of neighborhood
with 1 speaker that worked in it.
Okay.
And Nate kind of looked at him and
goes,
goes,
his finger in his belly button, or what did he do?
No, he just had his bathrobe on, and he's like, "You guys want to buy? You want this speaker box? One speaker don't work though."
Yeah.
And Nate goes, "Where would we put it?" And the guy goes, "Yeah, okay." And walked back over, and we were like, anyway, finished our stuff, drove off.
Those interactions make life great.
Yeah. We had to stop at the Jacksons before we left, so we could. I had to clean the front windshield. I could not. The kid was a smoker, so and
there's
that
a film.
So my level of obsession, like an OCD in a car, is a clean window. Like that. I could care less about the rest of the car because I've driven a ton of dirty cars. I have to be able to see out the front windshield.
a credit to you. That's one of the hardest things to do for people, too.
That's just me. Like, I have to have a window clean.
It's my least favorite thing to do is clean the front windshield.
I went to the Chevron or the Jacksons. I went and got an air freshener to throw in because it was making me sick.
Yeah.
I had the windows down, and I was like, my eyes are burning in this thing. Pulled over. I thought, they'll probably have like a crappy microfiber towel I could buy for like $1. Like, I'll buy it and I'll just clean the glass. It'll be something better. Nope, they didn't. I had to get napkins. And I got them wet with water, and I just cleaned the glass as best I could with that, and then drove.
Honestly, a newspaper does a better job.
I know, I should have just bought a newspaper, but anyway, so Nate and I, but we took pictures, so you can check them all out on the Rag Company, Levi, my Instagram page, or check them out on Facebook. We took pictures of our adventure, and Nate was like, this is like the grand tour, because like he'd pull up next to me, and I'd had mine, and we'd stop and I'd get gas. And he's like, I think that back wheel's kind of bent. And I'm like, oh, awesome. It's really great. And he's like, oh, and you have a brake light out. And I'm like, oh, this is sweet.
When you go into a convenience store, you come out in a cow strap to your roof, that kind of thing.
Yeah, basically. So it was fun. Like, we had a good drive. He followed me all the way back to my house, so in case I broke down. But truck ran fine.
Yep.
Made it back just in time, and then Augie helped me clean it. Augie absolutely loves the truck and has decided to take all his meals out in the bed of the pickup. He climbs in it and sits back. He's like, we should go out and drink our juice boxes out there. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like great. Let me grab my
Let's
diet.
have a juice box meal.
Well, he
outside.
drinks his juice box. I drink my Diet Pepsi, of course.
Of course.
But we went and sat out in the back of the pickup and just hung out, and he asked if he could climb in it and play in it while I washed it. And I said, yeah, that's fine. You go ahead. Little did I know. So one of the speaker grills was just cracked. Augie proceeded to break the rest of it all for me. So I'm like, well, okay. Well, now I was looking at replacing it. No, I really have to replace this.
He gave you the reason to do it.
He was like, yeah. And then there's like a little vent thing across the front windshield that was missing like one little broken vent piece. So Augie made sure to break the other 3 off. Just, help me out.
Thanks, bud.
Yeah, I was like, all right, that's cool. So luckily, eBay to the rescue.
Yeah.
Like I said, parts are cheap on that.
Yeah.
I'm amazed at the stuff I'm finding because I can do a lot for very little.
Well, people pick on GM a lot for the whole, brand badge engineering, essentially, where all the vehicle, it's the same vehicle with like 10 different, fascias and badges and stuff. But the plus side is that means there's a sheer volume of parts you don't see in many other places.
Yeah,
so
like I'm going to buy a new hood. I'm just going to go to the junkyard because we've bought 5 hoods this year for $40 a piece.
You will find a Sonoma or an S10.
Well, because it's on the Blazers, it's on the Envoys, it's on the Jimmys, it's on the Bravadas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you can pick up a hood from any of those.
Yeah.
And it fits. But all in all, it's good. It's fun. And then yesterday... Saturday, we also took the kids to the march on the steps of the Capitol, and there was bounce houses and stuff for the kids, so they loved that, so we got to do that. And then yesterday, my wife was like, we need to do something. Like, she goes, we need to go explore somewhere. And I was like, okay. And she goes, so pick a spot. So I thought, man, where should we go? We haven't been.
Nampa.
Yeah, I already went to Nampa once. So... I said, well, let's go up to Bogus because I haven't taken the kids up there before. We've never driven the road with the kids before. Like, let's just go up to Bogus. You guys go up there just about every other week.
Yeah,
it's
fun.
A good road. It's a fun
so
road.
I thought, well, let's
see what the hype is about.
Pile in the Elantra. No, we took the Camry.
Oh, okay.
Naturally.
Also a sport edition.
It is a sport edition. It's got 18s on it, and. It's got paddle shifters, too. You guys knew that? So I was paddle shifting.
So you drove up Bogus.
Yeah, there was an A4 behind me that was all lowered and stanced out. He couldn't keep up with me.
He just kept rubbing around every corner.
Yeah. But no, we drove up. So we were like, we'll go to Bogus. And so Carly's like, great idea. I didn't know what we were going to do. But later, my wife's friend texted and said, hey, we're going up to Bogus on a hike. This afternoon, do you guys want to go? And we were like, we want to. That's what we're planning on doing. Like,
we're already up here.
Where are we going to go? Well, we were thinking of going. She's like, well, come to our house at this time and let's all just drive up. And she goes, we're going to go do the Moores Mountain Loop. And I thought, I've never heard of that. That's cool. So we drive up. Basically, you hit Bogus, you hit the lodge, and then you go 4 miles past on the dirt road, right? And then there's a turnoff on the right that goes up to a day picnic area.
Okay.
And you climb that, and then you park up at the day picnic use, and you walk, and there's a trail. It's like a 2.5 mile trail, and it's totally bordered. Like it's got markers, and it's a very nice, well-groomed, clean-kept trail. But it goes around the top of Moore's Mountain, which is the mountain next to Bogus Basin.
Yeah.
So our whole view on one side was the backside of Bogus. On the other side, you could see Horseshoe Bend. Around the back, you could see all of the Boise National Forest. And it was so clear yesterday, you had a view of the Sawtooths.
Oh, wow.
From where we were.
Yeah.
That was crazy. Like, we came around the mountain, and I was like, that's the Sawtooth. Holy crap, you can see the Sawtooths from here.
And the Sawtooths are really gorgeous.
Yeah, they're probably one of the most beautiful mountain ranges in the world. And so to see them in the back, I was like, holy cow, I didn't know you could see that here. And my buddy, he's like, yeah, we do this like at least once a month. We do this loop just for fun. He was like, I never noticed that before. He's like, I've never seen it that clear. The sky was that good. So
you see the curvature of the earth.
It was really nice. And then wildflowers in bloom and stuff. Like, it was seriously a good trail. Yeah. Really well kept, really nice, really pretty. And the weather, it was like 62 degrees.
Yeah.
And a breeze.
Oh, it's so nice. When it's good up there, it's great.
Yeah. So came back down. I stayed on my buddy's rear bumper the whole time. Paddle shifting all the way through, and he was let's just say he was moving. I was working pretty hard to keep up with him.
What were they driving?
He had a Ford Edge Sport.
Oh, okay. Well, at least it was a sport.
Yeah,
comfort.
Yeah. So he had the EcoBoost and all-wheel drive, and
there's probably still some body roll.
He had some big wheels on it.
Oh,
and so he was their factory, but he was putting it through its paces, and I was trying to keep up with him in my Camry Sport. So but it was fun. The kids did great. Car got filthy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just covered in dust. Yeah. And then my kids, when we parked, I was like, oh, wow. Like, this car's covered in dirt.
You drive that Bogus lot. You're good.
And my kids were like, start touching and feeling it. I'm like, stop.
Yeah.
And they're just feeling every inch of the car. Hadley's like, look, you put your hand on it. It pushes dust. So, needless to say, I got home, rinsed it off. The car's wearing Inspiration and Beadmaker, so it literally just came off no problem.
Yeah.
Cleaned up really well. But yeah, so it was fun. But we stopped at the Pack Out on the way down, Hawkins Pack Out.
That's what you do.
Got some chocolate malts and some French fries, and we ate. And then as I was sitting there, I looked across the street, and there's a local car wash called the Car Tub that has been closed down.
Oh, yeah.
But is for sale.
Ooh, yeah.
And those of you that know me, that's my retirement plan, is I want to open a self-serve car wash. So I was like, oh, and Carly saw it. She was like, look, there's a car wash for sale. And I was like, she's like, look, there's no automatic bay. That's exactly. I'm like, you keep talking, wife. That sounds amazing. But it was, so just one of those things, like I try and think of like ways that, a job, and Dylan and I have talked about this a lot. That's kind of our plan as we get older, is to purchase self-serve car washes and just do that. And, not quit doing what we're doing, but have something as like a side gig or an evening, afternoon kind of gig where you show up, you dump your quarters, and then as our kids get older, you give it to them kind of thing to do.
I have an idea you can use in that situation. You know how some bars have outdoor TVs that are like weatherproof and stuff? Put some into the bays so you can teach people proper wash techniques while they're operating in the coin out. Just put Rag Company.
It'd be totally Rag Company branded. We'd be selling Rag Company towels in the vending machines.
Yeah, I spoke too soon. Now everybody knows.
We'd probably be selling a lot of PNS, like the whole car wash. I would do it all in PNS products.
Yeah, the whole thing is car wash. So
I'd do it all PNS. I'd probably have like a bead maker wand attachment,
that'd be nice.
So you could spray your car down with bead maker.
If only all our houses could have that.
You'd use Pearl, you'd have some Pearl soap to use. You could do some fun stuff with a car wash.
Totally. Yeah.
There's one car wash down the street from me that gives out a little key. So you put in like a $20 bill and it pops out a little key with a code on it, like a little chip card on it. And you just stick that key in to the reader and it gives you $20 worth of time.
Yeah.
And so you just run it while you're washing the car, and usually I'll do a couple things and then I'll pull it out so it's not eating money,
Yeah.
and then I'll pop it back in and finish a couple other items.
I like that a lot better than the ones where you have to type in your freaking credit card
well,
number into
yeah,
the...
well, you can use a card for it too, but this way you have a little key that you just set on you hook it on your key ring, and you can just put it in. So anyway, those are just my ideas of how, but it was right across the street from the pack out, and there was a Subaru club
really?
hanging out doing their own meet and greet in the parking lot of the pack out.
Yeah.
And I was like, how great why wouldn't you do that?
Well, you're
with the
right
car wash.
at
You're
an
right across
enthusiast destination because people love driving Bogus Basin roads.
Oh yeah, why wouldn't you do something like that? And you'd set it up on the weekends, like on a Sunday night when it's dead.
Yeah.
And say to the Subaru Club, like, hey, come on out, use our spot for parking, and
you're all of like 2-3 minutes from downtown, so you can really get everybody who's
well, and you'd set it up with the Subaru Club to where you give them a bunch of those little $5 keys.
Yeah.
And go like, hey, here's $5 worth of washes if you park and do a thing, and then they can be like, oh, I'm gonna dudes washing their cars.
So needless to say, you had a good weekend.
I had good ideas. I had some good ideas. Had some fun. I got to play with the new truck and washed it.
Yep.
It's pretty rough. I didn't drive it to work today. I went and got plates. Tomorrow I'm taking it to Boise Muffler to have them kind of go through the truck. They do auto repair and exhaust. So so we'll see. But they're going to keep it probably for the rest of the week.
Yeah.
And then I'll probably have it back here next Monday and drive it to work then.
Okay.
So you guys can see it in all its glory.
And we do want to. So.
We'll make a hype video on it.
Oh, man. How great would that be?
We'll get 5 people to watch
And then
it.
at the end, we'll put my other car's an Elantra sticker in the back window.
Yeah. I think
Because literally my other car is an Elantra.
Yeah.
So that's pretty dope.
No matter what you're driving, as long you can see the enthusiasm.
I think we're with you on that.
We're gonna get some ultralights on there. Put some Koenigs on it. We'll put some of the tires on there.
Sporty.
It's got the sport package.
Yeah.
This thing's probably gonna rip, dude. It's gonna be awesome.
Oh, this is crazy.
Man.
So what did you do, Anthony?
So my weekend started off Friday night. I did a transmission flush on my Evo, and that was something I'd been looking forward to doing. It was one of those jobs, like I think we can all agree on this, as being car enthusiasts who listen to this and who are just in this room right here. All it takes is just having a friend with a little bit more confidence than you in doing something on a car that you both have never done before to like motivate you. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like all the car work I've ever done on my own was usually inspired by having a friend who's just a go-getter who's like, dude, let's do it. Come on over, man. We'll crack open a couple cold ones and we'll turn on some music and we'll just work on it. And that right there motivates me. But if it's like, oh, I need to do this today on my own that I've never done before.
If you turn it into an experience with camaraderie, it definitely helps things.
Yeah, and having a friend who's like, dude, I've done that before, or I've already read up on how to do this. It makes me feel a lot more confident in knowing, like, okay, let's do it. Let's knock this out. So, me and Jason, we flushed my my transmission fluid, and I know that doesn't sound like a complex job, but like on my particular transmission, you have to remove the whole under tray, you have to do a bunch of extra stuff, and then you have to basically get the exact measurement right of the fluid you're putting in. It's a whole process to where you have to, crank open the drain bolt, rinse everything out, crank open the fill bolt, and then what you have to do is, obviously drop the car down, get it level, get as much of the fluid back out as you can, jack it back up, start to fill it, do a tube, do all that stuff, and basically get to the point where there's the right amount of fluid in there, because it's not like this engine takes 2.3 liters exactly. It doesn't work like that because you're never on this level, perfect surface. No. So it's a matter of jacking the car up, filling it, dropping it back down, waiting for excess to run off, past the drain plug, then pumping it back up to see if there's any more links, doing all that stuff. So I, in the process of removing my wheel, I will admittedly say that I used the wrong lug wrench, and I scuffed a little bit of my wheel. I was it's the first
You gotta get out of here. You're
first
done.
bit of damage that I've done, and it's not bad. But I mean, like literally, if I showed you guys a picture, you guys would laugh at me. But I remember I have issues.
Yeah,
so,
I did get to see the picture. It's not that bad,
but it's bad enough.
But it's bad enough that it drives. It'll drive. Oh yeah,
it's
no, I
bad enough
understand.
to where it'll drive me crazy. So
it'll frustrate me.
Let's just say I already have bronze touch-up paint on the way,
right, there
so
you go.
I'm already gonna plan on fixing
so
that.
you didn't set it on fire. That's a good story.
But so I ended up doing that. Transmission feels buttery smooth. I really like the way the car is driving right now, and so I got to do that. And then on Saturday, I went on a motorcycle ride. Did a 200-mile day trip to did the
solid.
I know it was a decent ride. We went out and did what's called the Loman Loop, so we go up through this place called Idaho City, which I spoke about in the previous podcast.
So you rode past my house,
and then rode past you passed your house, and then basically what you do is you ride up in the mountains. You cross through this place called Loman, which we had some really horrible fires in there a couple of years ago, but it's kind of cleared up. A lot of the greenery's coming back.
I have video of that on my old YouTube channel.
It's it's a beautiful ride. The roads are horrible. They're potholed. I mean, those roads take a beating.
The Banks Loman
quality of the asphalt, the road is terrible, but the actual road, the directions it takes, the views are incredible.
The views, the turns, the
really one of those top 10 kind of roads.
It really is. You drive that road. I mean, if they fixed that road, if it was freshly paved, that would be like the road of a lifetime.
Highway 21 is amazing.
The place to go.
It's an amazing drive. So
it's also in the middle of nowhere.
It is. So if you
a lot
crash,
of trees, but you're on
probably
your own.
gonna die.
You're far away.
Well,
from
you've got
civilization.
the mountain on one side, and you always have the Payette.
So
you're basically you drown or you.
You're very remote. I mean, even life flight would take a while to get to.
Well, it was just super cool because coming around, there's a place called Garden Valley Banks, it's Garden Valley is what it is. And so basically you're coming around and you meet the Payette River. And it's super cool because you're along this cliff side to where your right side you have like the dangerous, rocks falling. You have a bunch of netting. But then down over your left, you have a large dipping cliff, and the sun was coming down over the mountains, right? So it was just the perfect amount of shadowing. So it was like very picturesque, but it was super cool because looking down, riding along these roads, you see the river, and then on the other side of the river, there's all these different rock formations and greenery where there were people camping, right? So it was just cool seeing these campfires, leading the way along this whole entire river. It was just very it's gorgeous. Scenic.
It is gorgeous.
And looking down, and it was like the perfect amount of fire and the perfect amount of little smoke to where I'm like, that is like something out of a picture.
I was going to say, this seems like one of those things where somebody just dedicates an Instagram channel to having all this different stuff, and they just build it up.
Yeah, it was like some some Thomas Kincaid stuff. I don't know how to describe it. Like it was definitely like something where the light definitely.
Yeah. What time did you do this?
So we actually left Boise at 5.
Oh, okay.
And it was about a 3.5 hours. So it was, coming back into town around 9. So it was the perfect timing. But beautiful ride. It was where my bike got pretty hammered with bugs. Summertime, going along the river.
You were on the Triumph, right?
Yep, and I was on the Triumph. So if I was on the Grom Dane, that would
that's
be.
What I'm asking. That'd be a little bit.
Just who all went? Was it just you?
It was me, my dad, and my brother. And
cool.
It was a cool family ride, and it was awesome because I think I told you guys previously that my brother picked up a motorcycle about a month ago, and I tell people there's 2 different kinds of people in this world. There's a person there's a person. There's people that are meant to ride motorcycles, and there are people that are not meant to ride motorcycles, right? And there's a lot of people that are not meant to ride that do buy bikes, and I kind of like an accident waiting to happen, and you never really know until you see somebody ride. You have to. It's a matter of having not too much confidence, but enough confidence to know. How to manage the bike, how to ride the bike, and how to feel comfortable. Because if you're too scared, that's a bad thing. If you're too confident, that's a bad thing. It's just this weird level of respect in knowing when to go fast and when to go slow, knowing when to have your head on a swivel and when to enjoy the views. Like there's all these different things when it comes to riding, and for some people it's common sense. They jump on a bike and they just know. But then there's other people that have to either learn or train or go to stars courses or do classes, whatever it takes. But I was super happy seeing that my brother was an awesome rider, a guy that could jump on the bike, and I look at him, I'm like, you are really good and you're capable, but you're, he is, cautious but confident.
He's still new.
So he's a new rider,
barely a year. Right?
Less than that. I mean, he's been riding my Grom since I got it, just for fun. But
he's got the perfect bike for starting out.
On a bike, so he got an SV650S, and it's a perfect bike. To where it's a 650 V twin. It's got enough torque to get him out of tight spots, but it's not enough to break triple digits in a couple seconds. So. But he did really good. I was super proud of him. My dad was really proud of him as well. My dad's got a Vulcan 900, and so it's more like a Kawasaki. It's like a cruiser style bike. But we had a really good ride. Like I said, bikes were hammered. So right when I got home, my first instinct is I got to get these bugs off, right? Because I think black paint, on my bike, I need to get all this stuff off. But it was one of those nights where I was just exhausted after riding and after, whipping through the canyons and the twisties and avoiding potholes, that I was like, I think I'm going to save that until tomorrow, So
that's what you're going to do tonight.
So, no, I did that yesterday.
Oh, okay.
So I did knock that out. Just did my go-to distilled water, O&R. I very rarely will I foam the bike, but if I do foam the bike, depending on whether or not I'm going to clean the chain, and do all the degreasing and things like that we've talked about previously on podcasts. Power Clean at 10-1, amazing. It does an amazing job at breaking down bugs, breaking down things in the tight spaces, but then following up with distilled water, following up with an O&R wash is usually my go-to. But I was pretty excited because over the weekend, I think it was on Thursday, I ended up picking up they're called Pitbull stands, and it's a motorcycle stand. I got it off the Facebook Marketplace for $50, an absolute steal. They're a $150 stand is what they are. So people that are listening to this that are detailers, if you guys are doing bikes or planning on starting a motorcycle detailing business or something, or bringing on bikes, I would highly suggest investing into Pitbull stands, specifically that name brand Pitbull. They make They make the highest quality of stands. I mean, like, honestly, coming from a guy that's been riding motorcycles for as long as I have, I've bought the cheap stands from Cycle Gear. I've bought the cheap stands from eBay. I've gone through so many different types of brands of stands, and really, it's like you buy a Pitbull stand. That's the last stand you'll ever have to buy. That stand will outlive you. It'll last forever. You can't break those things. And so if you're thinking about starting motorcycle detailing, whether it's sport bikes or cruisers or anything like that, invest in that brand. I'm not sponsored by them yet, but I wish I could be. So
you got the right one, baby.
So look at
Diet Pepsi.
So if you're ever, like I said, motorcycles, look on Craigslist, look on or just go out and buy them outright. They're worth the money. But I did that and did a lot of yard work. I'm thinking about this. Now, this is when you guys...
You got to put some trees in?
Well, this is when you know you're growing up, right? I swear to God.
You're getting excited about
this is where you know things are changing, because I walked outside in my front yard. I'm over there, putting some Miracle Grow on my new plants that we planted, a couple weeks ago. And I look over and I see my neighbor is right next door, and his sprinklers pop up, and his sprinklers are doing this cool thing to where they kind of they're spinning, they're like a rotating, but they have like a stream, a much longer stream. And I looked at that and I was like, well, that's cool looking, right? And I'm looking over at mine, and mine are just have that kind of misty spray. And I'm looking at his, I'm like, well, man, he doesn't have a dead patch at all. Like, I don't think he can have a dead patch. Those are really nice. So I went up to him like,
good
hey,
distribution.
So what kind of sprinkler heads are those? And what was a guy like me got to go do to get those at my setup? And he was just like, oh man, had the same problem as you. Had a couple dead patches. Weren't getting any water. Switched to these bad boys, and grass is greener than ever. I'm like, well, you don't got to tell me twice, sister. I'm like, tell me, what do I do to get these? And he's like, well, they're about $3 to $4 a piece. You get them at Lowe's.
Big money.
Twist off the head. They have a little inline filter. Twist them on, and then he pulls one out of his pocket. He had one on him. He's like,
of course.
And so he's like, well, check this out.
He's a stealth salesman for this particular brand.
So just happen to have is that a sprinkler head in your pocket?
I am eating it up though. Like, I am all about it. Like, he has my full 100% attention, and I'm like, preach to me. Like, what do I got to do to get my grass?
Who's the neighbor in Home Improvement?
Wilson.
Yeah, just pick it up. I feel like it's one of those.
So he pulls this out and he's like, what's cool is you see this little white mark right here? That's where it starts. So you adjust it to where you want the white mark to start and where you want it to end. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's amazing, right? And
guys, like it's 100% adjustable.
Yeah, this dude is totally a vendor rep.
He's like, he's like, you have your top. So he's like, say if your stream's hitting too far and you want to cut it back a little bit, he's like, just adjust this at the top. I'm like, this is amazing. And I'm walking away from that conversation thinking to myself, what?
I gotta count my sprinkler heads.
I just got jazzed about sprinkler heads.
Yeah, I'm sitting there I'm like, what in the hell? I'm like totally pumped on doing this. Yeah. I'm literally about to go down to the store, count my sprinkler heads, probably drop $120 or something like that on freaking sprinkler heads, and don't care at all. I just thought that was just it was the funniest. Funny. It was the funniest thing. I'm like, guys,
I found my sprinkler heads today this weekend.
Oh, did you?
I kept seeing, I'd see one, and then I was like, do I have sprinkler heads on the new house? And I was like, I have to. Like, this is ridiculous. But my wife and mother-in-law have been, just watering by hand. And I was like, this house has to have sprinkler heads. And then I was cleaning the garage out. And I'm like,
control unit
somewhere? There's the control unit mounted on the wall right underneath my modem. And I'm like, oh, well, there's the control unit. So I pull out the little booklet, start going through it, set on the cycles, set it up. I was like, okay, now I need to figure out how to turn them on. Go over to the sprinkler stuff, find the ports, turn them on, and I wait. Time goes by, nothing happens. I found 2 irrigation keys in the thing, and I thought, do I have sprinklers on irrigation water?
Mm-hmm. It's a nice thing to have around here.
It's possible.
Yeah.
There is irrigation in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
So I'm like, go over there, turn one of the keys. All of a sudden, all my sprinklers come on. And my yard starts filling up with water, and I'm like, oh, I don't know if that's the right turn it off. Everything turns back off. I'm like,
the flood method is a real thing, but
it started flooding, and it also started turning the sprinklers on.
I feel like it's that scene in Christmas, a Christmas Vacation, where the lights come on, and it's just like, oh.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is awesome, and then I turned it off, and I was like, I need to call my dad.
This is intense.
I'm like, called him, and he's like, well, you got this valve and blah, 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 and if you're doing this, and he goes, but you're probably on city water. And I'm like, don't tell me that.
Because I just spent bunch of money flooding my yard.
Hoping that I have... It was only on for 5 minutes, because I wanted to see the sprinklers pop on, and I'm like, oh, there's one. That's
all it takes.
Yeah, so, yeah, dude, it's a joyous feeling when you're like, oh, here it comes.
Yeah, well, I was just so jazzed about it. So that's a project I will have.
It's gonna go on your own honey-do list,
in the upcoming. Yeah, well, and I go up to Katie. I'm like, I'm gonna upgrade all the sprinklers, and she's just like, what? Like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, no, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be an exciting thing.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, whatever you want to do, if that makes you happy. I'm like, I think it will. I'm pretty stoked about this.
You should be more excited.
And then when you're done and you get it all done, you can go to my house and we can figure out my sprinkler. Get it dialed in.
So, but yeah. So, anyways,
invite Matt over.
That happened over my weekend. Dane, what did you do?
You know me, keeping it low key. Working.
I worked at the rag company all weekend.
Dane came in and worked.
I have a bad habit of that.
Your man cave.
It is. Yeah. This is where I get stuff done. I like video editing. What can I say? But to that point, I was working on our travel video.
Yeah.
Getting that arranged, getting the final, tweaks done, because I've been working on it for a while, but one of the things I had to do is, some of the places we went, there's stuff we actually can't show you yet.
There's contracts that we're not allowed to break.
Basically, obviously at Phantom Works, they have projects going on, so we can't show all of those. So I had to make sure I was covering up the right things. So, sent an email, ran the video by them, which I had, and they said, that looks great. Just as one thing I noticed, there's a little. I
had to watch it 3 times to catch it,
and it's totally right.
It's
I don't think
a second.
If I hadn't done anything to it, I really doubt anybody would have noticed it. But I went back and I re-edited it.
Nice.
So now it'll be getting released. It's actually uploading right now,
Sweet.
So it should be going out this afternoon.
Yeah, so you guys check that out.
My hope. Which if you're watching
it was a fun trip.
Yeah, you're probably this is coming out Tuesday, I think. So you guys would have already seen it, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I told Dane, and I wanted to tell you that you guys are my favorite travel buddies to go on these adventures with.
You're my travel bros.
Listening to you guys may think we joke around or maybe we get tired, but seriously I have never had more fun with these two on the road doing these events and doing this stuff.
I couldn't agree more.
Like,
thank you.
You guys are
we
good
have
travel
fun.
buddies.
Like, and I joke, like, you guys may think, like, because I was listening to the podcast and, like, we razz on each other and we
totally.
make fun of certain things.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like, we've become like a brotherhood, so to speak, for the three of us and doing these things and hanging out with everybody. And so it's all in good fun and all in good love. And I didn't get to say that on the last two podcasts. I wanted to say that. So thank you for reminding me, Dane.
appreciated.
So
And that's the thing. What you guys see with us, like, this is real camaraderie.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's cool. It's unique. And I think, it's a different angle for what we can present to, like the detailing community and stuff. Because there's a lot of different things you can be watching out there. But I feel like we bring something unique to the table with the three of us. So.
Well, and then hats off to you, Dane, because Dane killed it on this travel edit. This video
this is a really good video.
It is so much fun. It is so cool. Like, I mean, he does the best job at literally giving you guys what it's like to travel with us and what it's like to be there with us and our experience from start to finish. Like, there's no other way to portray it as, we have fun. We're there to work and we're there to, actually get some stuff done. But, the way we handle things, like the way we present ourselves to things, it's...
like the reason we do these travel videos is we want you to feel like you guys get to come along, you get to experience what we experience because we're so grateful and excited to be able to do this stuff that we're just trying to share it with everyone.
And we don't want to take it for granted. So that's why we go out of our way, because I don't know how these videos are going to turn out. I'm just filming stuff when we're out there, and sometimes I use footage from the videos that we shoot. But also, there's a whole lot of cell phone footage that ends up working out really great because it's just like fun, weird anecdotes that happen on the road. And if it weren't for, having a great phone camera handy, you wouldn't know it ever happened.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of vlogged, but at the same time, like, you see other people's vlogs, and it's very much like day in the life, like second by second. Mine, I try and make them a little more cinematic, but at the same time, they're not so cinematic that you lose the human touch.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of a weird hybrid. That's what I try and go for with all our stuff. And I just want to, give you a sense of what it's like to come along on the ride with us.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That's why I try and
do.
And
I think we should challenge other people to do that as well. People that are, whether you're a detailer or whether you're a hobbyist, if you're ever traveling, if you're ever going about doing something, taking a quick clip of your cell phone, because that's the thing. Taking a clip of like a video of something going on and just going into your photos folder or videos folder, that's not going to do you a whole lot of good, right?
Yeah.
Download a basic video editing app. I think there's a video editing app that I use.
Most of your phones have iMovie.
iMovie, Video Shop. I know Android has some good ones. Take those clips.
Windows Movie Maker.
Compile them together. Just take them and just throw them together. Maybe download a song that you really like and play that in the background.
Beware of copyright infringement.
Beware of copyright infringement, but just, maybe use a nice mellow track or something.
Yeah.
Throw it on there and then share it with people. Show people what you're seeing, in your experiences on your trips or your daily thing. It goes so much further than just a standalone shot of something, right? You're taking all those clips that you think you're going to do something with or think you're going to show somebody with that you don't, and actually doing something with them and then producing something and making something. You don't have to be a pro editor. It's literally as easy as saying, I want this clip, this clip, this clip, and this clip, and then you select it and it brings them together for you. That's it. That's great enough. Then throw a little music track over that and share it, upload it, or just save it for yourself. Save it in a folder and maybe show your kids someday. Like, that's why I told Dane, I'm so glad he does all this, because one day I can show my kids that, hey, your dad was doing some cool stuff.
My kids freak out every time I pull it up on the TV. They're like,
on the TV.
You're on the TV. Like,
it's just fun.
They freak out.
Yeah.
They love it.
But I really enjoy that. And what I want to stress to people who might consider doing the same thing, you don't know what's going to make the final cut. So don't be afraid to film a bunch of stuff and just, whatever's going on. Obviously, at the same time, you have to find that balance, right, of not being so lost behind your screen recording stuff that you don't live in the moment, you don't enjoy what's actually going on.
Very true.
You have to find that balance. But at the same time, I know I'm going to spend a lot of time behind a screen afterwards putting it all together and making something fun out of it that you can continue to watch and share with others, and they can go, oh, now I get that thing you were talking about on the podcast. Now I can really see what the actual event was like.
Yeah.
That's cool. So, yeah, I want to give people, like, the taste of it, but I don't want it to overstay its welcome either. This one comes in at, like, 11 minutes or something.
Yeah.
But it's that whole trip, compressed.
Well, and I'm going to have to do that when I go to the UK with your dad.
Yeah, because you won't have
I won't have you
there,
following us, so...
it's all on you. But you know what? A phone can do a lot these days.
Yeah,
so
I'll be fine with the phone. I just need to make a mental note that I need to document a lot of the trip.
Yeah.
Over there and the flight and that kind of stuff.
Even the stuff you don't think is important.
Yeah.
Just record out the window in the plane.
Yeah.
Record, some conversations you have just to pepper in some, light stuff. You never know what you're going to use. So, yeah.
I need to make sure that because we've got like our next 3-4 trips. Yeah, we got 4 events basically. 3,
off.
So, because we're going to be splitting up. All of us are going to go to Seattle to the Museum of Flight to do Air Force One again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But then Jeff and I are flying from there to the UK, and you guys are coming back and then going up to Sun Valley for the road rally.
And we'll have Tim with us to help on that.
We'll have Tim with you for that, and then we come back from the UK, and then 2 weeks later, we all go to Denver for the Rupes event. So
I forgot that.
Yeah, so we've got that at the beginning, like 1 month away.
Yeah.
And so in the next month, we've got literally 4 trips coming up that we have to do.
Yeah. That's what happened. And, I think that has kind of an impact on the content that comes out on the channel. Yes, as it came up recently in the comments and stuff, somebody's like, oh, this is becoming the Rupa's channel. It's like...
No, we try and get as much footage as we can.
We try and get as much diversity of content as possible, but the simple fact of the matter is, when we go do something, we end up with a whole lot of content on that particular subject, which obviously you want to do. If you're there, you want to make it worth your while. Get as much as you can, but then that's what you have to share for the time being. So it does
until we go somewhere else and get another one.
Yeah. But then we go and we do something else, and then it's a lot of that. So it comes in waves, and I just want people to understand that when they're watching stuff on our channel, it's not always going to be just one thing.
No,
there's a diversity of content, but it takes time.
Yeah, but like when Dylan was here, we made 10 videos basically, as we said. We said we're getting 10 videos worth of content, and then when Matt was here, we had to figure out like how many videos could we do with Matt.
So we have a few with Matt and Obsessed Garage stuff, but we're waiting to release those until he can release them, so we can kind of do it in tandem.
And then same with when Jason Kilmer was here, same thing. We're like, let's try and figure out how many videos we can get with him and do his thing. And then we're going to Seattle, and we're already trying to figure out like what can we get done in the 2 days that we're there. What kind of content can we?
Last year we kind of did just like one overarching video for the Air Force One detailing thing. This time maybe we can do some more like compartmentalized stuff, or we can try some different things with it.
Or we can do a new travel video.
While you guys are doing that, I'm going to be in the actual museum going on the rides. Remember that they had that simulator, that plane simulator? I was kind of bummed. I was like, I wish I would have done that. But it goes upside down. Yeah. And it does a bunch of cool things where I'm like, No,
I've been going there since I was a little kid living in Seattle. That museum's always been awesome.
An amazing museum. Yeah. I was super impressed at the like the World War II area of the museum.
I love that.
That was I loved it. It was amazing.
Up all those planes, man.
They had cool like games where you can go and play video games and fly a plane, like little simulators that you could do that were free. You just walk up and start playing. But I liked I mean, I think museums that have a high production, have that high production quality to where they really do the lighting and do everything and create that ambiance of being somewhere, and even the smells, right? You get into an area and you smell like
they start doing gunpowder, and
it smells like gunpowder. It smells like canvas, like canvas material. Like that smells like a duffel bag. And that's kind of cool.
Smells of rich mahogany. No, you walk out into that glass atrium with all the planes hanging from the ceiling. That was always the part that blew my mind as a kid. And what's at the bottom? An SR-71 Blackbird staring you in the face. It's the coolest thing.
You walk underneath
your little kid. Yeah, it's amazing. There's so much rare, unique, interesting, aircraft and just artifacts from all kinds of stuff through all the world wars and all this different stuff. It's just fascinating.
Yeah.
I really like the little, one of my favorite planes there was the passenger plane that was a propeller plane.
The Ford Trimotor?
No, it was the Alaska Airlines one.
Oh.
Or that was there. That was an old, like, flight back and forth between like Boise and Seattle, or Seattle and
it was
Portland.
Like a commuter plane.
It was a commuter plane, but it was from like the 40s. And to see the interior of that and the seats and like
when
the
you're looking at
walls
these
and the
fairly old-fashioned building materials, a lot of wood, a lot of different stuff like that, and you're just going, wow.
Yeah, and you're like, people used to ride on this thing.
People used to trust this. I mean, I have a hard time trusting what was built 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And there's people down there flying pieces of wood.
Yeah. Yeah, basically. Yeah,
you have to imagine it was loud.
Oh, yeah. I couldn't even imagine. Like, I already am like super sensitive to the noise on an airplane already, where I'm like, this is... If I hear a panel rattling, like that's all I can hear.
Even today's economy stuff is luxury compared to what some of those things were.
But to see that and go like, oh, this was nice.
Yeah.
Like
still,
curtains
though,
and stuff.
I think it kind of peaked in the 60s, 70s in terms of like comfort in air travel.
Yeah, they changed that. But this was like literally like like right after the end of the war. Like, this is how people flew. Like.
I think the one you're talking about was from the late 20s.
It might have been a
20s,
30s plane.
Because it wasn't an aluminum plane. It's like wooden. It looks like
wood,
it looks like a San Francisco trolley with wings.
Yeah, it does. It's pretty wild.
I liked seeing the Boeing, the big cargo jet that was in there as well.
Yeah.
I know people who are maybe in the military are like, a cargo jet, what's so exciting about that? I think just the sheer size of just walking and being like, you can throw a football in here. Like literally, you could it's pretty far where you can play a good game of catch inside this plane, but then seeing how much storage and how much extra, from top to bottom, how big this thing is, it's crazy.
And it's awesome because it's not just a cutaway, like a subsection of something. You're actually in a real plane, and this is the real scale and size of everything.
Or the Concorde. I was talking about that yesterday to my buddy and I when we were hiking. I was telling him we were going up there again, and I was like, he's like, I always wanted to check that place out. I heard they have a Concorde. I was like, they do, and you can actually get inside of it and walk through it.
Yeah,
which is wild.
You can't do that most places.
Yeah, so. That's a cool plane too, because that actually grows when it's flying. It lengthens
the heat expansion.
Yeah. Just crazy.
It's very tight in there, by the way.
Oh, it's tight. Yeah, it's small, but think about it. You're like, I'm going to get across the ocean in how many
3 hours or something?
3 hours, yeah, something.
In terms of cross section, it's about the size inside of like being in a Volkswagen Beetle or a Fiat 500. You're just like, okay.
It's literally only 4. It's a 2x2. Like It's
but it's
small.
Seated
like.
But it's pretty long.
It was like 30 rows or something. It was long, but
to do what it did when it did, it had to fit that certain footprint. So
it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's cool.
So anyway,
there's also people. There's also people going to be working at this.
Yeah, we're going to be wandering.
By the way, the detail mafia will actually be working there.
Yeah,
so
the guy, all the detailers that are there, they're going to be working on the plane. So it's just going to be cool to be a part of that. Check them out, see them again, and catch up with all our old friends.
Hands down, some of the hardest working people I have seen. Those guys they're literally
they bust their butts.
They're busting their butts.
They volunteer for 7 days, sometimes 2 weeks, depending on the job and what all the projects they have to do.
And it's not just Air Force One. They're working on what last time it was like 17 or 18.
Yeah, they were doing polishes, and some of them were one step. Some were just wash and waxes. Some were,
let's be realistic. You're not going to be doing like a 100% correction.
No, but they did one step on some of them. They did full metal polishing on another on one of the bombers.
Like one of them was like full aluminum.
Well, and this year it's the first actual year that they're completely covered.
Yeah.
So last year was the first year of the top. So they were cleaning up the planes because they'd all been exposed outside to the sun and the construction and all that. And then this year is the first year where we're going to go back, and this will probably be the easiest year.
Do they have walls?
They don't have walls yet.
Oh, okay.
But it is a fully covered carport. So think about if you had a car and your car was out in the sun and not washed regularly, but just out in the sun, and you did a correction on it to clean it up, and then the next year you put it under a carport.
Yeah.
And it stayed under that carport. The damage is much less significant.
Because it gets windy out there. Yeah. I mean, you're by the...
So this year's the first year to see these planes after they've been covered. And so to the guys, the detailers that came prior to that would actually spend a week in the sun on the tarmac.
They were working
outside.
So hard.
Those guys busted their ass.
Not to say that they won't
not to say
year.
that this team isn't, but I can't even imagine the level of work.
That's brutal.
In the weather and because we were there and we were like, wow, this is really nice. Shaded cover. There's a nice cross breeze.
And they're all telling us, they're like, yeah, it
you should have been here
before.
a couple of years ago. So this will be a neat year really to see how well the planes have held up.
Yeah.
So.
And that just means with that in mind, they'll probably be able to do even more.
And all the planes had beadmaker put on them, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if it rains,
that'd be good to see.
Yeah. So, no, we had that going on. And then, Dane, what else did you do over the weekend?
I dropped in on the new and improved Cars and Coffee.
Nice. How'd that go?
So, I got there a little
Now,
late.
for those that are wondering, you probably saw the national news last year.
Yeah, we talked about it on our podcast. Too.
Our Cars and Coffee just started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for those of you that have been having Cars and Coffees since the spring, lucky for you guys. But Boise basically was having a hard time trying to figure out whether they could bring it back, whether they could do it after the accident. A lot of local businesses
It was under new management.
got scared away because they didn't want to house the insurance for something like that again after that
For
accident.
the people that don't
happened.
know, a Porsche lost control and
Leaving the Cars and Coffee.
Leaving Cars
A
and Coffee.
Boxster Spider.
It jumped a curb. It hit a sign and it hit a couple people,
Yep.
and so nobody died, but
Yep,
there were some
thankfully.
people that were seriously injured.
But
so
apparently the genius behind the wheel
A lot
took
of
off the
kids
traction
hanging out.
control and decided, I'm going to go for some wheel spin on this exit. So
Yeah. And it was an older gentleman. It wasn't a kid. It wasn't a teenager. It wasn't anything like that. The teenagers and the younger folks were actually very well behaved. This was a 60-year-old man in his Porsche that
the
had
boomer
probably
was something to prove.
something that he just thought, hey, I'm going to do, and isn't on Facebook,
I
isn't
think it
on
was-
the Instagram.
His
isn't on
wife
the
was in
groups.
an M3 tearing
Yeah.
off ahead
Yeah.
of him, and he's just like, oh, I got to show off and then catch up with
Yeah.
him. So anyway,
Just search Boise Cars and
Speculation,
Coffee
but
Porsche
yeah.
on
It's just
YouTube,
better
and you can
to-
see the
You'll
video.
see like a
Yeah.
million posts.
don't
about it, so.
just never take a rear-wheel drive car out of a car show thinking something good's going to happen.
Well, and it's mid-engine, so it's
Yeah.
not going to have quite the same friendliness as a front-engine rear-wheel
yeah,
drive car
absolutely
will.
not.
So anyway, so how was it? So new location this year, new management,
new location.
new crews.
They have it at the Boise Village, which is
Not
Boise
the Boise,
Village.
but
It's
the
in
Meridian.
Meridian Village. So yeah, I should know. I live over
Yeah.
there. So anyway, yeah, it's a new location, and I think as far as the way the management works, the previous folks just said, okay, after some stuff, we just want to put it to rest. We won't do this. So some new people said, well, we'll make one ourselves instead.
Yeah.
So they kind of just started their own thing,
Yeah,
and they
got some other
organized and they got some
businesses.
stuff rolling. And I found out about it because I was driving and a guy in traffic in an Audi A3 next to me was like complimenting my Volvo as I'm driving home, and he's just like, hey, we're doing this Cars and Coffee thing this weekend, you should come. And I'm like, huh? And I thought that was something. He goes, no, we're doing a new thing. And it was, he was kind of playing it up, and he's like, I'm one of the organizers. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, well, all right. And he just
That the dude
totally
from
flattered me about my
Intermountain
Volvo, so I was
Exotics?
like, sure, I'll show up.
from
But,
Intermountain Exotics.
I don't know if
He
he
had an
was that
R8?
guy or not. No. This guy was in an A3,
Oh, okay.
but it was heavily modded. So,
Okay.
any rate, he was in the little wagon hatch type deal. But
Yeah.
of course, he was complimenting my Volvo.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So that was fun. But I decided, okay, I'll show up. But I was a little late because I had some other stuff to do that morning. So by the time I got there, it was like 11:30, 11:45, and they had started at 9, and they said it would run until 1. But of course, this being their first true Cars and Coffee of their new arrangement, you don't know how it's going to turn out.
Yeah.
You don't know what people are going to show up. You don't really
Yeah.
know what kind of turnout or what kind of vendors might show up or anything. And it's in a new
And-
location,
and
so
it
a lot
wasn't
of
on
people were
the
unsure.
third Saturday of the month anymore. It was on the first Saturday.
It sounds like
Or
these
the
guys are
last
going to be
Saturday
doing
of
it
the
more
month.
frequently, because
Yeah.
in the past it was always once a month here in
Yeah,
Boise.
third Saturday of
But
the
now
month.
it sounds like they want to do it like every 2 weeks or
Wow.
something. But,
Okay.
other towns, bigger towns, they do
Yeah.
it every weekend. But, any rate here, they did it in basically a big empty parking lot that's behind some of the stores that are kind of adjacent to
Yeah.
the village. So it's
Yeah.
not quite in the village like some people might have pictured, but it's just a parking lot back there. And, by the time I got there, it had cleared out a little bit. It wasn't quite as busy as, whatever. But I saw pictures from earlier, and it did look like there was a good chunk of people there. And I believe Anthony was there earlier. So he probably saw it as it actually was.
I stopped by for I'm talking maybe 30 minutes when they were first opening up because, amongst the other things, I went to the Lavender Festival on Saturday.
Oh.
I got dragged. The fiance took me
You
to
really
this,
are growing up.
Smelled some lavender.
It was nice. Like, I'm not going to lie. It was very relaxing walking in some lavender fields, but that's besides the point. So I stopped at Cars and Coffee and pulled in, saw a couple of the people getting set up. It seemed like a much more organized event than the previous ones. No offense to the other guys that were hosting the previous one, but I like the idea that they did a $5 charge at the beginning, so you actually had to pay $5 to bring your car in, but all that
okay.
money went to charity, which
Oh,
was
nice.
cool.
Yeah.
So I was down for that. I like.
Well, and hopefully if you get people to pay, you get the chance to like give them rules and stuff, like basically saying like, hey,
I was gonna say that little cover charge at the door, so to speak. It weeds out some folks.
Oh, I can imagine.
Just saying.
It absolutely. And so you can still. I mean, the event is free to walk over. If you park somewhere else and walked over, but if you want your car to be parked in that parking lot, you have to pay $5.
Yeah.
So it did. Yeah, and it weeded out a lot of the. I don't know how to put this. The cars that may not be anything.
The ones who would only turn up if it was free.
So what you're saying is I should go down there, pay $5, bring the Elantra.
Well, it's
right.
it's for example, like it's like if you go to a car show, right, and you see a whole line of cars and all these nice, beautiful cars parked a certain way, and then you see a
2000 GMC Sonoma.
2000 GMC
bunch of failure
parked the other way, right?
Spray painted,
couple bald tires,
and you're like, well, that is at a place and that doesn't look right, and that person's parked the wrong way, right? It's not very picturesque.
Now if it was rat rotted, maybe, but it sits.
So rolling in the morning, something kind of dawned on me, and I'm looking around, seeing everybody wiping down their car with quick detailer, things like that, right? And part of me is happy to see that people care about their vehicle and they want to show it off.
They want to make it shiny.
But there was a guy with a Viper out there. He's a red Viper, white stripes. And I'm seeing him. He's got a Costco towel in his hand, and I see him cleaning his wheel, right? And this towel is pretty bad, right?
Because it's bright yellow.
It was bright yellow, but but I don't think he was using product. I think he was just taking a rag and just wiping it dry. So he's wiping his chrome wheel, right? And he's sitting there getting all the cracks and crevices and things like that. And then I see him take the towel from the wheel up to the rear quarter panel and continue to wipe and continue to rub it in. And
you got to do it in that order, otherwise it doesn't work.
Well, and he's dry wiping.
You got to make sure you get a lot of the iron brake dust.
You want to get as much as you can.
This is the part where we become very petty and judgmental.
And then you want to wipe it on your quarter.
So I see that, and I'm like, that's a nice vehicle there, and it kind of dawned on me that somebody us, we're educated. We know that's not something to do. We know the people listening are educated. That's not something that you do, but. Is it our business to go up to them to say, hey, should I pass on the education? Do I sound snobby? Do I sound rude?
Not everyone appreciates that.
Or would somebody appreciate that? Like if I came up to that guy and said, hey, and he's an older gentleman, and I'm not saying that the older guys are harder to work with, but sometimes they're stubborn in their ways, and
let's be honest, a lot of those
the biggest thing you got to go back is to remember, for those of you that are listening, not everybody knows what a swirl mark is.
Yeah.
Not everybody knows what the scratches are from the car wash.
They might think you're
there's a
making
guy. So I stop by Saturday mornings. I always stop at this Jackson's to get some soda, and I get myself a drink and my wife a drink, and then we get our fountain drinks to start the morning because we don't drink coffee. And I always stop. I go in, grab the sodas, and there's a guy that pulls up in his red Tesla, runs it through the Jackson's car wash, right? Pulls it back out the other end, then pulls out one of our twist and shouts to dry off his red Tesla.
I think I know the guy you're talking about then.
Well,
and I always get a kick out of that because I'm like
I'm flattered, but it also hurts me inside to know that.
Thank you for using a very high-end microfiber to dry your car off, but you did just run it through one of the scratchiest car washes in the in the city. So, and then he takes it up to Cars and Coffee.
But you know what? If he's happy with it, then that's the level he's comfortable with.
And so you got to remember there are those people who just... So you're right. How do you approach those people to teach them without coming off like you know it all?
Well, and the other thing is, it's one thing to go up and approach somebody and just try and offer some friendly advice, but you have to also put yourself in their shoes and see, this person's coming up to me. What are they about to try and sell me, right? Because you feel like, because some detailers, and some see more success than others, where they'll go up and they're like, car shows are my jam. That's where I go and I talk to people and I teach them, and I can get clients that way. Well, and you have to be careful in how you approach this stuff.
So here's my idea. You go to the show next time and you bring your polisher and a generator and you start polishing your car.
And generator, Levi. Yeah. I have something called the Rupes Hybrid Nano.
Yeah, you attract more with honey than vinegar.
You got to have the noise.
Well,
you do have to have the noise because then people go, "What is that guy doing?"
Generator.
Yeah. Well, if you've ever seen, there's a photograph I have way back on my Instagram. Way back. You guys have to go back. I was in a Fred Meyer's, and there was a picture of a generator. It was a box. You could buy this generator.
Yeah.
And one of the things the guy did was he put, the way it was positioned was hilarious. He had like a rotary polisher.
Okay, like a big handheld.
Yeah, no, like an actual rotary,
like a rotary
polisher.
Okay.
And he had it plugged into the generator. No extension cord. Just straight plugged into the generator, so it barely reached the hood. Then he had the polisher on the hood, wearing an apron, in a park.
That's right. I remember this
and
now.
he had
love
every single type of, like, basically everything that we have back there positioned on the hood of his car.
Yeah.
2 feet from where he was polishing.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, you could do the same thing. Fire up that generator.
Well, he did that to get girls.
I was just saying, didn't you once have a client or somebody who was like, "Yeah, I like to go out to the park to polish my car because that's where all the chicks are."
That wasn't dude. Who said that?
Who
we
said
heard
that?
that.
I remember
I think it was
hearing
Dylan.
that.
I think Dylan told us that. Yeah.
Some guy would go out to the park, polish his car in the parking lot of the park, and he'd just watch like joggers go by like a total creep.
No, but my dad said
it does work, guys. I mean, it really does. Chicks dig that.
My dad said that's what, like, so Julie Davis Park.
Yeah.
Here in Boise, there's that, you can drive that loop around and out. My dad said that used to be 2 lanes.
Yeah.
So you could drive one way, you could drive the other, and people would park on the side. And he goes, people would park and they would cruise the park on a Saturday. He's like, it used to be bumper to bumper. People just cruising during the daytime before they go cruise at night downtown. So they turned it into a one-way and put in all those speed bumps.
I hate those speed bumps.
Yeah, because that was he goes, they did that in the late 80s, early 80s, the late 70s, to curb the amount of cruising that was going on, of people just racing and dragging and car wrecks. And you think about that little road.
I know some people are all on board for let's limit the number of things. But come on, can we let some people just have their fun?
But he said what you would do is you would go park your car and you would wax it.
Yeah.
And you'd watch people cruise back and forth, and people would walk. And he goes, it was like a weird impromptu car show. He goes, me and my buddy Crow would be out there waxing our cars.
Yeah.
And I was like, Julie Davis Park, you would go wax your cars in the park? Like, what kind of weird?
It's like
stuff?
Park underneath the tree sap.
Use
that as extra.
Little of that,
again, this is the city of trees.
Yeah.
We do have a lot of trees around, and so that's car's getting sap on it.
So I mean, I guess what you can get out of this, guys, is that you'll find a lot of possible customers at car shows, but I'd be creative in how you go about maybe presenting that. Whether it's doing a test spot, whether it's approaching them nicely. I think if you go up to them being a jerk, saying, "Hey, your car looks like crap. Let me fix it," I don't think that's going to get a whole lot of business. And I think it's educating people too. Would be a big thing. Maybe if you brought your own car that was corrected and you parked somewhere close and you say, "Hey, let me show you the difference between a swirl-free finish and a swirled finish." Right? There was a black RX-7 that was out there, an FD RX-7, which I absolutely love. The FDs, and it was black and it was so bad. It was one of those where the swirls had swirls.
Yeah,
and I was thinking to myself, this car could look so good if this was fixed, but it was one of those. I think it was for sale. It was for sale, and they were saying, "Oh, we just want to get this thing sold. We're not super worried about it looking good." And
that makes a difference.
And I wanted to say, well, I understand that, but
you get more money out of that car.
That $300 single step. $400, double step, whatever, however many steps you want to do, whatever your pricing is, could yield extra $1,000, maybe
or
an extra
$5,000,
$2,000, $5,000,
making it nice.
Something.
An FD,
I mean, it's there's so many things you can do and educate people on. And especially at car shows, I feel that if you see somebody, for example, there was a red Supra there, right? It had just been coated by our friend Brian over at Gearhead Detailing, right?
Yep.
So shout out to Brian. He did a great job. The car looked great. The kid rolled into the show. Keep in mind, I think he was 18 years old. With a Mark IV Supra, with Volk wheels. I mean, he's one very lucky kid. So he pulls up in this car.
Maybe he worked
and
for it?
I look. I'm hoping so. He also had a pair of Yeezys on, and so
Okay.
I am. We'll leave that there. But he did have an Eagle Edgeless inside the passenger.
Yeah.
And so
Okay.
and I saw that, and I was like, oh, cool.
Brian must have left him that.
Brian must have given him that, and I went up to him and I talked to him. Really cool kid, and I said, hey, did Brian tell you to go pick up some decent car supplies? And he's like, yeah, he told me to go to this place called the Rag Company and ask for...
And you had your Rag Company
and
shirt
ask for
on
a
and
Levi.
hat.
I actually had my backwards hat on, and I said, I flipped it around.
You're
I'm
like,
like,
this old place?
that's actually me. And he was like, oh, cool, yeah.
I'm Levi.
I'm going to have... I'm Levi Gates from the Rag Company.
I covered my tattoos today. But.
So he was like, yeah, I need to come pick up some product. But I saw him, later, 10 minutes later, he was wiping down the front of his car with the Eagle, right, which was cool. But he wasn't using any type of lubricant. He wasn't using detail spray. He was just bone dry wiping it.
I don't understand. I'm just dusting.
And and it's like, do I go up to him and say, hey, man, you can't do that because you're taking a dry surface to a dry surface with dust in between and you're swirling your finish? Or, how do I...
Don't tell him he can't do that. Explain to him and educate him why that's not the best idea. And then you could leverage
maybe
that.
we've also put it out to you guys if you have any ideas or thoughts that had worked for you. Leave them in the comments below.
Yeah.
Go on the YouTube channel and let us know or email us.
And I think I guess why I'm questioning this is it's not because I'm going to go there trying to try to get a business from a detail job. I'm just thinking from an educator's perspective and what we do so well in our videos. How
to do it in the field.
How can I do it in the field? I've done it. I've told you guys the story of me being in a Walmart, helping people out with products.
Impromptu clinic.
Impromptu car clinic in the detailing aisle of Walmart. And I've done that, and I've done that well because I was in my my domain of detailing products. I was able to wing it there. But going to a place where it's cars, right? It's another domain, but it's a domain where, detail products aren't often involved. So something to think about, I guess.
Yeah.
So let us know.
I mean, like when we were working with Rob Ferretti, he made it very clear. He's like, if the car's dirty, I'm still going to drive it.
Yeah.
Like that was the thing. And there are a lot of enthusiasts out there who approach it that way. They're like, I don't care what it looks like as long as it's fun to drive. And that's okay.
Yeah, like I was driving that little truck back and it stunk. Yeah, it looks like crap. But I had fun driving that truck back.
You were just excited.
Yeah. But I look at that and I go, this is what I like. I like the dirty things, but it's still a vehicle. It's something I'm excited about. It's something I'm excited to play with.
No.
So...
Yeah, because not all detailers are into patina, but...
Yeah.
Yeah.
This doesn't have patina. This has spray paint.
I'm being charitable. Your truck is god-awful.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
You can say, all right, Dane, you haven't even seen the truck yet.
I'm just
You
judging
already
based on what
talked
you've told me.
Yeah, okay.
When I take a look at it, I'll say, it's about as good as my Miata.
Not as bad as I thought it was. Wow. Yeah.
Jeez. All right,
Applied
Dane.
with a roller. Okay,
Yeah, there you go.
Any rate, all right, so... You guys done?
I'm done.
You're good?
That's all I got.
All right. Well,
you guys have fun?
Kind of had a long episode.
Yeah, this was
today.
a long episode.
But,
Enjoy it, guys. Enjoy it.
You never know how it's going to turn out.
Get those last 10 minutes for free.
Any rate, guys, thanks so much for listening or watching if you're on YouTube. If you're listening, you might be on iTunes or shoutengine.com at the Rag Company Podcast. Any rate, I guess that pretty much sums it up.
Yeah.
I am freaking out because I took one of your fat burners. and now I'm like,
it's finally hit you along with the Red Bull.
It's,
Dane,
it's kicking in.
Well, it sounds like we got to take Dane to the hospital, guys. So we will catch you in the next one.
So, anyway, guys, thanks so much.
See ya.
Take care.